Hey guys, and welcome back to Abir Football Videos. In this video, let us talk about the game between France and Spain. So, Spain have ultimately made it to their second World Cup final in their entire history, and the first one was from 2010, where they had defeated the Netherlands 1-0 with a late strike from Iniesta in the 117th minute. And now it is time for Spain. And Spain obviously do have a 100% record in World Cup finals, and their more likely opponent would probably be England, considering the depth that England have and how Argentina have actually scrapped past some of the teams without showing any dominance. But the main reason they had won was stamina and exerence throughout the entire campaign, because Argentina's road to the semi-finals was a little different, considering the fact that they had to play poor teams like Switzerland, for example. They You can't consider them as high tier, or either Egypt or Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde is a good team, but again, considering that Argentina is ranked first place on FIFA, it should have actually been quite an easy result and a decisive result. But the fact that they had to stretch all of these to extra time, except for the game against Egypt, where it was very controversial, and Argentina, I believe, did deserve to lose this game. So I think England are finally going to put a foot down and stop Argentina from reaching another final. And hopefully, it's going to be England versus Spain in the final. And that was exactly what he had gotten in the Euro finals of 2024. And obviously, England are hungry for getting a World Cup, because the last one they had gotten was 60 years ago, 1966, with a hat trick scored by Gio First. So, once again, it's all up to England now, because Argentina might have some experience in playing in these big clashes, and the one major incident where they had met was in 1986 Sunday, where Argentina had beat England 2-1 with Diego Maradona's controversial hand of God goal. So again, England are hoping to avenge that. But stepping aside, let us talk about this game. So France could not even like the way Morocco had played against France in the semi-finals was like, in the quarterfinals, was exactly how France had played against Spain in the semi-finals, because like France were not able to have a long-term attacking depth or frequency, and they were the one always lacking possession, because the French were never able to hold the ball for a long period of time and what do you say, do build-ups or anything to like frustrate or tire the Spanish players, and then after that play along, and then after that like just put the ball in the box and score. Because since the first minute, Spain were completely dominant, and on paper obviously France's squad is talented, and you would obviously expect that squad to 100% win the World Cup. But that is not the case. Instead, football is played on the pitch, and I think the main reason why the French had lost was because of Spain's midfield, because they had actually restricted or blocked the French from pushing forward, and they had completely controlled the midfield, which meant that the French players could not even, the French midfielders importantly, could not even play any big role in the entire game. Because if you look at Rodri, his work on goals or his work on assists may not be there, but if you look at his work on touches or his work on passes inside the box, where Rodri keeps consistent possession and he doesn't lose the ball that often, it is really important to have players like that, in my opinion. And Rodri obviously did control the midfield, and one star player was actually Dani Olmo, and he was also quite impressive. And the first goal that Spain had scored was in the 10th minute, I think, and it was a penalty by Oyarzabal. And Lamine Yamal, in fact, was really smart for what he had done, because the ball was actually going far, and Lucas Digny had not seen Lamine Yamal run towards the ball, so obviously he was going to clear it like any fullback did. And as he cleared the ball had gone flying past, and Lamine Yamal had put his body in the way, and he had kicked Lamine Yamal, and yeah, it was a penalty. And you could clearly see Yamal waiting for the contact to happen. He had just put his body on the line in order for Spain to win the penalty, and that is exactly what had happened. And then it was a penalty easily scored. And then after that, you could see the French getting a little urgent and nervous because they kept pressing and they kept trying to earn some momentum or get the ball for quite some amount of time. And the French had done that. They had a small spell, and during that time, Koundé, the right back for France, had put the ball inside, but it had reached nobody. And that was the major chance that France had actually had. And during the first half, that was all that the French could ever recreate. And Spain, in fact, had multiple chances in the first half. And France had also given away the ball a lot of times, and that had made Spain obviously more like ex- like they had a higher ratio of expected goals, and Spain kept pushing forward and trying to score the goal. For example, Mike Magnan from France had given the ball in early to center to Dani Olmo. He had then played it to Alex Baena and played to Lamine Yamal, 1-2 between Orebazal and Lamine Yamal, in fact. And at the end, Orebazal had missed the shot. Actually, the ball had gone wide. But that was some examples of how Spain were really alert and pressing, and they were just fantastic during the build up the entire time. So, this in fact was the main reason why Spain had won the game. Midfield controlling is essential, and if they can play like this on Sunday, then they can win the World Cup. That is 100% sure. Spain can win the World Cup if they play like this. But anyway, then in the second half, Pedro Porro had scored the goal for Spain, and it was probably game over for France then. France did not again have any major chances, but Spain did have major chances in the second half as well. And Lamine Yamal did score one goal, but that was ruled as offside, and it was brilliant footwork and a brilliant goal, and it just showed the capability of the right winger, that Lamine Yamal, that you could actually bring to that he could bring towards the team, because the way he had played was excellent that game. He created a lot of chances, and also he helped defensively, and his challenges were a little ruthless and reckless, honestly. But it doesn't really matter because Lamine Yamal was playing excellent throughout the game. And and then after that, Pedro Porro had scored the goal, so he had gone near post and beat Mike Magnan from the center. And what had happened was the ball had fallen to Alex Baena, and then after that was played towards Lamine Yamal, and then he had played it to Orebazal, and then it was played through the gap, and the French players were like completely um like not capable of understanding what the gap was behind them. And when they could realize what had happened was that he was off on his way to score. And that was exactly how Portugal had conceded from Mikel Merino's goal. They kept playing among themselves, and then they played back, and that had caused confusion and players late to react. And that is exactly what has happened this time as well. Yep. So that was how it was 2-0. French were eliminated, and they did have some chances in the during like the 80th minute. They had actually had the spell where they had tried to press for goals, and they tried to win penalties or win free kicks, but nothing went into plan this time. France had played terrible, and this was the first time they had lost a game 2-0. And one time that they had lost a game 2-0 was in 2010, where it was a poor season, FIFA World Cup, in fact, for the French team. And that was exactly what had happened this time. Their dominance has completely been over, and the fact that they have lost no games in the World Cup until now shows how good the French were, and this also shows how good Spain is, who are now on a 34 unbeaten run. Okay, aside from that, my predicted lineup for Spain in the finals would be Unai Simon on goal, and then right back Pedro Porro, and then the centre backs. There's really not much of a choice, but you would have to put Kubarsi, and your left back would be Kukurea, and probably then if we move up forward, we can have Rodri as our CDM, and after that, I would put Pedri because he needs to play a little and I think he can control the midfield. And I would put Danny Olmo as well. And then up on top, a striker, Arabazal, and then right wing, Lamine Yamal, and the left wing, Alex Baena. I think that is perfect. And Mikel Merino is obviously a super sub, so he will be coming on late in the game because that's where his impact is actually. Lastly, I don't think Mikel Merino can sustain a full 90-minute game. He's a super sub. But anyway, it's England again who will be taking on Argentina, and since Reece James is fit, I believe that he should come into the starting lineup because he's doing excellent. But again, you would not want to take the risk of having him injured, right? Because he's a crucial player. But I would obviously put goalkeepers Pickford and then right back as Reece James. That would be my opinion. And then after that, centre backs would be Stones. I want Stones to play centre back. He was pretty good. And then Mark Yuhi, and then left back Nico O'Reilly. The back four is completely brilliant. And then up top, I would put Anderson and Rice. And if England were to play 4-2-4, that would actually be pretty good. But England play 4-2-3, 4-2-3-1. That is their main formation. And then you can put Rashford. You can put. I want Rashford to play and not Saka actually. Rashford and Gordon do seem like a good pick. Both of them are really consistent and they're in form, but again, it's a big game and Rashford might underperform, so that is the risk of choosing Rashford. And Saka as well, considering Euro 2020 finals, what he had done against Italy, and how nerves get to him. I think Rashford would be the right option this time. And then obviously Bellingham you'll have in the centre mid as well, paired with them. And then up is Harry Kane. And I think this team is fully capable of beating Argentina, who have just gotten victories that were the scrap past teams. So this should come to an end. And the third place finals would be Argentina versus France, and first place would be between England and Spain. That is my prediction, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.